Hello! If you're watching this video, there's a big chance you just got a brand new Xbox for the holidays. Congrats! You'll probably most likely get an Xbox Series S, as it's never been cheaper to upgrade to next gen. Well, first and foremost I want to say, welcome to the Xbox family. Secondly, I want to tell you, you've come to the right video, because in this video I'm going to explain everything you need to know about gaming on Xbox, and how to make it just a little bit more smoother and more fun. Now, of course, I understand that this promise down here is quite a big promise, and I intend to deliver. So, if by the end of this video you still have questions or issues about Xbox, drop them in the comments and I will give you an answer on how to fix that problem, on how to work around that problem, or to tell you that the problem isn't fixable. Anyway, let's get started. Your Xbox is a machine. A very powerful one, but it's still a machine. And what the machines do, sometimes they malfunction. Now, it probably won't happen often, but there's always a chance that something's gonna happen, whether it's your Xbox not connecting to your Wi-Fi, it's not going into party chats, or maybe it's failing to load up a game. If it does happen, it's nice to know the universal trick to fixing it all, especially since this trick is very untalked about and never really properly explained. I honestly don't know why, because this has been the trick since the Xbox One released. Anyway, this trick is called the Hardreset. Now don't worry, it's a very misleading name. A lot of people often think it's a factory reset. It's not. Now the Hardreset is very simple. Walk over to your Xbox, hold the off button for around 5 seconds until you hear a bleep, then turn it back on again around 3 seconds later. This will reboot your entire console, basically just turning it off completely and turning it back on again, something that doesn't normally happen when your Xbox is in the always on mode, especially if you've not changed any of the settings. Doing this is just basically the off and on trick that you'll have with every other machine you've ever owned. This is not going to be any different, and this will most likely fix any software issue you might have, as long as the problem is Xbox related. Of course, if, let's say, you're having Wi-Fi issues and your Xbox won't connect to your internet, this will do the trick if the problem is Xbox related, but if it's your router that's having issues, it's obviously not going to fix that. That stands to reason. If, however, there's nothing wrong with your internet connection and your Xbox still won't connect to internet, then there's probably something seriously wrong with the hardware, and you might need to contact Microsoft support. I hope I'll remember to make sure there's a link in the description, so if there is something seriously wrong, you can contact Microsoft, because they're often very nice helping people out. Now, one of the big reasons you got yourself an Xbox, either as your new console or just on the side, is of course Gamepass. Now, if you want to know everything about Gamepass, I'll remember to put a card up here somewhere with a video explaining everything about all the subscriptions you have on Xbox, and also how to get it cheaper. Ain't that nice? Anyway, I'm just going to go over the subscriptions really quickly. We're going to kick off with Xbox Live, which is the subscription you need to play games online. You have Game Pass, which promises 100 games available at any time. It is closer to 200, but just know they promise 100. You have Game Pass for PC, which is the same as the console version, but a couple of different games. For instance, one of the big PC games that you can play are the Age of Empires series. You have EA Access, which is EA's exclusive subscription service, which has a bunch of trials and a bunch of EA games. If you're a sports fan, that's probably neat for you. And you have Game Pass Ultimate, which is all of the above, combined into one. So, you got your Xbox working, you got your Game Pass, now it's time to install games and are dreadful. Especially if you are on the Series S, you have a ridiculous low storage. Now, there are two things you can do about this. One, just take it as it is, install games and play them, uninstall them so you can install others. Or option 2, expand your storage. Now, let me explain to you what your expansion options are. When it comes to expanding your storage, you have two options. One of which is by the extension slot that you have right here on the Series X. It's going to look a little bit different on the Series S. Unfortunately, I don't have one to show it, so just find this weird little elongated slot, and it says extension storage. You might ask, well, if you're about to show the extension, why don't you have one? Why is your slot empty? Great question, and the answer is, it's ridiculously expensive. It costs almost as much as buying an entire new console. Let's face it, if you are on the Series S, you're not looking to spend over $250 for a storage expansion, and neither should you. There is a second option, however. You also have two very neat USB ports right here on the Series X. You also have them on the Series S. Again, just look at the back of your console, they're very easy to spot. You can expand your Xbox with a USB drive. And so you might have the following question, why is there an expansion slot to begin with if a hard drive works just as well? That's the thing, a hard drive doesn't work just as well, it's just a cheaper option with a couple of caveats, so let's get over them. With a hard drive, if you plug it into one of the USB slots, you cannot play Series X and Series S games. Now you might think, why should I bother with a hard drive to begin with? For two reasons. One, backwards compatible Xbox One, 360 and classic Xbox games can still be played off that hard drive. Option two, it's easier to move games from your internal hard drive to your external, even if you can't play them, than to delete the games and install them again. Only if you have an internet speed compared to NASA, you're going to be able to download games quicker than to move them from internal to external hard drives. Because that's the thing, you can use the external hard drive to store Series X and Series S games, just not to play them. It's not the easiest way to do things, but it's definitely better than uninstalling games and installing them again. Especially if you have one of those games that you play every once in a while, but not on the regular. Let's say there's the game you play once a month with friends on a Friday evening. You don't want to uninstall it, but it's also clogging up your internal drive. Just put it on the external drive, and the evening before you play, move it over to the internal. It saves a hell of a lot of time. So when it comes to expanding your storage, you have two options. You have the expansion card, and you have an external hard drive. Both of the ups and their downs. Of course, the ups for the extension card is that you can play pretty much limitless at a pretty hefty price tag. That's of course the negative. The hard drives are more limited in what you're able to do with them, but they're still a decent solution to your storage problem, and they cost significantly less. And they're still a very good option for if you have a massive backlog of Xbox One and 360 games that you still want to get through, and you don't want them to clog up your internal drive. Now, if you are going to opt with an external hard disk, there are two requirements for a hard disk. One, it needs to have a minimum of 500 gigabytes of storage. Now, even if this is not a requirement, I would definitely recommend it because anything less would just fill up just as fast as your internal drive. The other requirement is that it needs to have a USB 3.0 connection. Now, there's one little tip I will give you when it comes to selecting your external drive. You have USB powered drives and you have externally powered drives. Externally powered drives, especially considering how minor the price difference is between them, are quite faster than USB powered drives. Now obviously, you need to make sure that you have a extra socket free for your hard drive, so maybe that's not an option and you're still gonna have to go with a USB powered one. But if you do have the options between a USB powered one and an externally powered one, I'd go with the external one because they're just slightly faster at a minimal price range. You see this headset? This headset has two speakers, one for each ear. That of course makes it a stereo headset. There is a very popular misbelief that there are surround headsets. Well, this is kind of true. There is no surround headset that actually has 5 or 7 speakers because no one has 5 or 7 ears. The surround is virtual and it's pretty good. I mean, it's very good, but you are probably spending a lot more money on a surround sound headset, even though they're kind of just a stereo headset with virtual software that makes it surround. Now, there is a neat little app on Xbox. It's Dolby Atmos, as well as Xbox's own surround sound features. It's very cheap, and it basically turns every stereo headset into a surround headset. Now, why is this a big deal? It's definitely going to be cheaper to upgrade your stereo headset to a virtual surround headset. I will say, obviously, that surround is only going to work on your Xbox, so if you need that virtual surround for other things, it's not going to help with that. However, it's a lifetime subscription. It's going to work with every headset, and it's, I think, only 10 or 15 for that lifetime subscription. It's pretty much a steal and something worth considering when you are thinking of upgrading your headphones or headsets on Xbox. So make sure to check out the store for Dolby Atmos. Next up, they are no longer being manufactured. I think that's kind of a shame. We have this little fella. It is a headset chat adapter. Now, why would you want one of these? They're not required, they're not very special, but they are oh so neat if you do have one. Basically, what that does is regulate all your audio. You want to turn up the game volume because your party chat is a little bit too loud? Just press a button. You want to quiet everything down? Just press a button. You don't have one of the sliders to mute your mic? Just press a button. Press a button for everything, and they are very neat to have. Amazon has a couple of third-party knockoffs that you might be able to get. They might work very well. I'm not sure myself. It's worth a try. Or if you can't find a store that still sells the official Microsoft one, might be worth investing in if you just want to upgrade your audio game on Xbox. They work very simple. You just plug them at the bottom of your controller and it's connected. And now that I have this one, let's go into the second tip. As I'm not going to go into the tribalism, but a lot of fanboys from another console are always mocking the Xbox battery because you need batteries to play, and they're included on the PlayStation. Well, if you don't want to use it's always Duracell batteries that are included with your Xbox controller. If you don't want to use one of those, just get one of these. It's a very simple rechargeable battery. It fits into every Xbox controller, and you can just recharge your controller just like you used to on PlayStation or any other controller from any other console. So just get one of those. It is an extra investment, and I get that that's a shame if you don't have to make that investment on a PlayStation, but that's just the way things work. Some games support keyboard and mouse, especially the games that have crossplay with PC. It's very easy to use. Just get your USB keyboard and your USB mouse and plug them into your Xbox, and you can use them. It's very, very simple. It's especially neat for tactical games like, for instance, Halo Wars, or maybe you just don't want to face the keyboard and mouse players on Warzone and level the playing field. You can absolutely do that, so by all means, go ahead. I do want to state, there are ways that you can use keyboard and mouse on games that don't support it. I'm not going to explain them because it's heavily cheating, you shouldn't do it, and if you do, you're an asshole. I'm not going to change that opinion. One final piece of advice before the end of the video. There is always a chance that something is going to go wrong with your Xbox, your controller, or a headset you bought from Microsoft. There's always a chance. So, you need to contact Microsoft support, and there are two ways to go about this. The first way is to be aggressive, be demanding, and bully the person on the other side in to help you. That does not work. What you want to do is just be polite. Go into the chat saying, hey, I got an issue, I hope you can help me with it. And if you do that, Microsoft is very much inclined to help you, because they want to keep you as a loyal customer. So my final piece of advice at the end of this video is just be a nice person. That's not just gaming advice, that's advice for life. Don't yet. Now, of course, if you want to be nice, one thing you can do is press the like button on this video, especially if it helped you out. If you do have any questions, like I said at the beginning of the video, just drop them in the comments and I'm happy to help you. And of course, most importantly, happy gaming.